Welcome to the VoiceBox channel. Today we're unpacking How the Voice Works, Part 2. What does it sound like? Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell if you'd like to receive notifications when I post videos every week. The first video in the How the Voice Works series was an introduction. And in that introduction, we talked about Scott McCoy's book, Your Voice: An Inside View. That book is a great resource, and inside that book, he talks about 3 things that the voice needs in order to make sound. The first thing is air, which is our power source. The second thing is vocal folds, which is our vibrator. And the third thing is our vocal tract, which is our resonator. Today, we're going to be deepening our understanding of those 3 things and using examples of how they actually sound to help us understand how those things work together. So I'm going to be using a tool called MADA, and it's a voice synthesizer application that anybody can download. It's free to download, and the instructions to download that is in the description box below. And I hope that you do download it and play around with it. It's a really, really cool tool. And we're going to be maybe doing a MADA tutorial in future videos, but let's use it today as just an audio example of what the human voice potentially sounds like. So this is a computerized version of a male voice singing an ah vowel on C3, which is the C below middle C on the piano. And it is a computerized synthesis. So it is not a recording of a human voice. I want to stress that because this is the awesome part about this tool. So that is a male non-treble voice singing a C3 on an ah vowel. And I hope that that was pretty clear, right? It does sound a little bit computerized, but that's because we don't get any of the natural oscillations in the sound of, like, basically where we have imperfections in a regular human voice that we don't get necessarily from a computerized sound. So if you're saying, oh, that definitely sounds like a computer, that's because we aren't perfect. And that's a good thing, right? So let's talk about these 3 things and what they sound like. The first thing, our power source, our airflow. Air doesn't make sound unless it's put into motion. And when it is put into motion, we can hear things like, wind. And also, air is a medium for sound. So in order for the sound to reach our ear, it needs to travel through the air. We need to have that air moving, that pattern moving so that we can hear a pitch. So when it does that in our voice, that airflow that's moving, we can have this sound, right? But how do we get from that sound to actual pitch? Ooh. Well, we need our vocal folds to come together. And what they're doing is they're chopping up that air into a pattern, which is a sound wave. And then that sound wave is filtered through the vocal tract and makes it really cool and interesting. And then that sound reaches our ear. So what if we didn't have that vocal tract to filter the sound? What would it sound like? This MADA program can actually approximate what it would sound like if we all of a sudden got decapitated, God forbid, decapitated right above the vocal folds. So right at our larynx, right above the vocal folds. So if we had airflow flowing and we had the vocal folds coming together, but we didn't have the resonance of the vocal tract, what would it sound like? Let's see. So we're going to do that same male non-treble voice singing that same C3, but we're going to take out the vocal tract resonance. Whoa. Okay, so it's obvious that the vocal tract is actually really important, right? Because what do we hear? We hear a pitch and we hear maybe a vowel-like quality. Stick a pin in that because we will come back to that idea in future videos. But it does not sound particularly human at all. It sounds very buzzy, right? Kind of kind of irritating in a way. So that is what it would sound like if we had kind of a microphone right at the origin of the vocal folds, right where they come together. And if we did not have a vocal tract influencing the way that the sound is filtered and the way that the sound is changed. So let's start with that sound again. And now we're going to add back in the sounds that the vocal tract helped to shape and amplify. There we go. Now we're back to our regular male sounding non-treble voice C3 on an ah vowel. So that vocal tract makes a huge difference in the color and the intensity of the certain sounds that we get in our voice, right? So that's how the three systems work together to make our sound. And obviously we're all shaped differently, and we all make different choices in our vowels, and we all make different choices with our tongue and with our airflow. So we all sound different, and that's important. But now you know how, in general, the voice, those three systems work together and what they actually sound like. If you'd like to join me for more really, really cool ideas on voice science and maybe a motto tutorial in the future, please subscribe to my channel. You can also join me on Twitter at VoiceBoxChannel, and I'd love it if you could tweet me some ideas of maybe questions that you have or ideas for future videos, and I'd love for you to join me as much as you're willing on this journey. Thanks for watching. Now go sing.